Could psychopaths in general be actually hijacked by, let's say, AI or archons, demons?
Yes. This is exactly what the social engineering was about for all those thousands of years. Heart consciousness is not compatible with AI. AI is binary. And if you want to hijack consciousness, you first need to degrade it to something that is equivalent to the hijacking signal. So this is basically the separation they did. They can hijack our emotions because you have technical control of emotional fields. It's producible by antenna systems. You need a cloverleaf antenna, and you can project anger just like this. So they can hijack the emotions, and they can hijack the thoughts because they are binary and they have binary signals out there. So this part is actually so similar to technical signals. This part of possible consciousness is so similar to technical signals that you can read out and play in and override, and you still have the full illusion that the self experiences the programming code as his own thought. So the humans will not even be aware of the fact that they turn into the computer avatar that was designed to basically first predict their behavior, then by self-learning programs create a computer model with algorithms that becomes more and more and more like the personalities. The personality concept is binary.
But this is what we're seeing a lot happening right now all over the world with this coronavirus hijack, really. We see the countries doing the same, the governments of different countries doing the same restrictions and the same what probably is a New World Order takeover, and these measurements and the mask wearing. Do you think that this is like a hijack, almost like, well, directed energy weapons or HARP technology used here to influence the mind, or what you would call the easily suggestible?
What they need for the full rollout of the control grid is 5G. This is what exactly delivers the electromagnetic field structure that is necessary for a complete readout and play-in structure. So this is the core technology. The other things like HARP, it might be still in use, but it's the alpha-beta version of a control grid. It only allows collective mind control. Like, let's ignite riots, put in some anger. You know, this is something you can project from one big antenna in whatever, the North Sea, or it's not individual. If you want to have individual mind control, you need something that is on the spot, targeting one single person.
Phased arrays.
This is phased array technology that does that. And this is why they need 5G. I'm not sure about the mask. Maybe they need the pandemic to create, or not to create, to talk people into mandatory vaccinations. And wearing a mask, it already was quite successful with the Spanish flu in the 20s. People died from bacterial co-infections that they caught because they were wearing masks.
Everything we're seeing now has happened before. It's just on a bigger scale. I mean, people don't have a very short-term memory, so they can't remember what happened in the past. Even what happened here in Germany with the Second World War, even the First World War. People can't remember that when they see what is going on, and that's actually what the governments may be implementing.
They can't remember because they didn't live through it, and all they get is education in media. And education in media is done by people. So we live in the world we are fed with.
How would you then say, if we are in the middle of this war on consciousness and working through 5G and electromagnetic radiation, even more so than we actually understand, the AI grid as well, can we dissolve that or change the frequency so that we won't be affected by it through understanding this heart-based frequency or energy that we can emanate, that we can use, that we can aspire to?
We need a bigger picture for that. We are at the moment on a path of ascending to higher densities and to more complex consciousness on our natural path. And this development of spiritual awareness go through different qualities. And the lowest one is the other responsible. It's a perception of reality where everything is shitty, kind of, but the other one is responsible for that. The material plane is responsible. So you look for a solution in the projection, and you don't realize that actually you are the projector. When you come to self-responsibility, this is kind of the next density. You realize the entire reality is a projection of my spirit. If I want to change the reality, I need to work on my spiritual setup. I need to work on my self-healing. And then I can focus completely on myself, while in the environment miracles happen. Like everything kind of dissolves on its own. So for me, personally, because I'm in this self-responsibility, I have arrived there somehow, it would be a big mistake to focus on 5G, to focus on world governments and start to get a fight with them, because I would just give them my energy. I would just make sure that I continue in a realm where they exist and where they have power. I don't want to be there, so it's better to ignore them, because if I ignore them, I don't have resonance with their reasoning, with their energies, with their whatever. I stop being in contact with the fruits of their spirituality, of their thinking, or their doing. And then suddenly I stop interacting with the monetary system. Yeah? You've seen my garden, bits and pieces.
And now you're self-sustainable, more or less?
More and more. It's getting better every year. We still buy basics like oil, because I couldn't afford an oil mill till now. And also I'm kind of busy doing things in the public, so I can't invest 24/7 in being self-supplying. Mm-hmm. But in general, yes, we could survive the winter without anyone out there. Mm-hmm. No problem. Not as comfortable as with going to shops to buy something, but if this thing comes in that only those who wear the mark of the beast are allowed to trade, I couldn't give a damn.
And wearing the mark of the beast, you refer to the coming COVID-19 vaccine that they talk about?
This might be a core component. Yeah.
A COVID pass they talk about.
What they now do is they need DNA data to be able to completely play as individual DNA. So they do this PCR test that actually was designed to harvest DNA. So they build up databases of who is who on DNA level, and then they can modify and improve their control system. So this is not about COVID.
No. And do you think, I mean, hopefully there's going to be a change very soon. A lot of people are waking up, even though there's a lot of people who's fighting for the system, on behalf of the system, believing the system. And it's also dividing people in general, even family members and friends and colleagues, what have you. And this is also what they want. They use this Hegelian dialectic always to divide and conquer, and problem, reaction, solution techniques and tactics. But I mean, you have also been involved in not only understanding, you've studied to become a physicist, but going into the spiritual realm, you also became very involved in remote viewing, for example. But you also moved out here way beyond, let's say, as far away from the so-called grid, and there's not a lot of radiation is not as strong here. The signal to a mobile phone, for example, is not that strong in this part of of the country. But you talk about being attacked, and you've also talked about that you've had assassination attempts on your life. So when you talk about this, is this on a spiritual realm, or would you say that this is on a physical realm? Does it happen in real life, or is it within your, is it on another dimensional realm?
It started in real life. It's like if you look at the dark hierarchy, you know, the lowest levels are the human soldiers, like Blackwater, and now Academy. You know, this were the first problems I faced when I started to invest. It was way before I even got into really interesting topics. I just had a tiny little funny confrontation with Monsanto about some chemicals used in agriculture, and suddenly you've got these 5 African style looking elder men facing you on the street every 20 minutes, telling you in your face, by the way, you're a dead man. And
did they say that?
Yes. And this is kind of the beginning, and they tried to do it with poisoning. Just going into my garden and depositing pills with strychnine on my vegetables that I then chewed and bit on them. So this is how it started. But somehow I was always lucky. You know, I just had a box with zeolite 20 centimeters next to me when I bit on that pill. So I just could spit out, shovel zeolite in, and the cramps just didn't catch me.
You had a physical reaction.
Yes. This was the first one. I was not even on interesting topics. And whenever one level of the dark structure failed to get me, because some miraculous thing saved my life, the next level in the hierarchy jumped in. Okay, you didn't manage, don't try again, don't bother, you know, we've got better weapons upstairs. So this actually was a teaching environment where when the physical plane did not manage to get rid of us, the spiritual realm jumped in. So we had to deal with black magic attacks more than physical ones.
So we also want to hear about the black magic attacks in that way. But first of all, why were you attacked in the first place by these physical humans? Why? Why you? Are you that interesting?
I don't know. They seem to believe so.
But what did you do?
I did from 2000 to 2012. I was in free energy research. This is putting the oil dominance of the monetary system into danger.
Tesla technology.
Tesla technology, Schauberger technology, Wilhelm Reich technology. And I was with, I don't remember exactly, 4 companies who were about to bring something on the market. And I was working in those companies. And it was always like on a level where everybody above me either got killed or went to jail. I was always kind of the first one, or in the hierarchy of the companies, within the level that survived. And everybody above me either went to jail or got assassinated. So that was kind of, it wasn't even about spiritual things. It was just about stupid economy.
Because free energy is something that is probably the most controversial, because if people knew that you could tap into the ether and that we have free energy, then it would take down the whole oil and coal and electricity monetary system.
It's